The latest tech.
I'm Alexa. I can answer your questions.
Interviews.
And we are evolving, and we are seeing an amazing opportunity that is happening.
Accessibility.
Accessibility is one of our core values. It's even a part of our mission statement.
This is DoubleTap TV.
Welcome to DoubleTap TV, the show where we bring you the latest in tech from an accessibility point of view. If you guys are itching to get involved, you can email us. Please email us. feedback@AMI.CA. You can connect on Twitter. It's @DoubleTapCanada. And don't forget to use that hashtag, which is AskDoubleTap. That way we can get to your questions on maybe this week's show, or maybe if you have an opinion on this week's show, we'll get to it next week. I have Marc Aflalo with me each and every single week from Glasgow, Scotland, Stephen Scott. Stephen, we made a commitment this season to focus in on some apps and some developers behind them to give people a better understanding of why they came to be. And this week is a perfect example of just that.
Indeed, we are talking this week about the app Be My Eyes, which we have talked about a lot on the show. We've talked about it on our radio show. Many of our viewers, I think, will know about this and possibly use this app on a daily basis. It's what I might call a useful tool in the toolbox of apps that we really should all have as blind people on our smartphones. Now, like you say, over the series of shows we do here on DoubleTap TV, I really want us to do a bit more digging into some of these apps that really make the difference in our lives. The smartphones are the toys, and that's great, but I think it's the apps that really do the work for us.
I was in Scotland. I saw you use Be My Eyes as one of these go-to apps in your tool belt, and I was quite impressed. But for the benefit of our audience at home, who may not have heard of it or may not even know what the app is about, what does it do?
Put simply, it's a way for a blind person to access support from a sighted person through the camera of your smartphone. It's like a FaceTime call, think of it that way. But instead of annoying the nearest family member who might be sick of you constantly asking for help, you can call a willing volunteer who is happy to spend their time with you.
And you know what? There are tons of volunteers. I actually even signed up to be one, and there are so many, and there's such a backlog that I haven't even had the opportunity to get accepted yet. So that being said, can anyone be qualified to be a volunteer?
Yeah, and you'd think there'd be some kind of process, wouldn't you? But, despite the fact there isn't, and anybody can, in fact, become a volunteer, and it's, a completely open platform for that, it's extremely well used, it's extremely well respected by all who take part. I can only talk from my own experience, and, I've heard this from other blind people as well, but I've genuinely never had a bad call once. Everyone on it has been super helpful, willing to take their time to help me with whatever it is I need.
So what kind of things do you often need? What do you use the app for?
Oh, lots of things. Simple tasks, usually. Making sure the socks match. That's a top one for me. Making sure my top is clean of food stains, although I usually have you to tell me that. I won't talk about nose hair, but you'd be amazed at how often you can call up and ask lots of different questions on all kinds of different things. I mean, maybe it's checking the box of medicine that I'm about to take, making sure it's the right one, or how long should I microwave that meal for, that kind of thing.
And you mentioned the people you connect to are actual volunteers, 100% volunteers. So I'm assuming there's no charge for this service?
No charge for the app, no charge for the service. It is all done out of the goodness of people's hearts. It genuinely is that amazing. Let's hear from a real user.
I think that the Disability Answer Desk is a really great thing.
David Bouchard, a Be My Eyes user, describes his experience.
I use the Be My Eyes app pretty frequently. I use it to get visual information that otherwise wouldn't be available to me, such as maybe a sign, a LED screen.
Senior Technical Advisor Chitra speaks from the Microsoft Disability Answer Desk Center.
At Microsoft Disability Answer Desk, we provide free technical support for customers with disabilities. With this integration with Be My Eyes, we can help you with tasks like installing Office 365, troubleshooting your internet connection, or even learning about the physical characteristics of your new Surface Book.
The service offers free technical support for people with disabilities.
All the users have to do is go ahead and click on the specialized help, and there is an option for them to contact the Microsoft Disability Answer Desk to help them with any technical issues they have.
Free app for iOS and Android.
Thank you for calling the Microsoft Disability Answer Desk. How can I assist you today?
It really takes away the visual barrier that sometimes exists. Because it's a free service, I'm really pleased that it augments the skills that I have.
We want to make sure we give our best service to our customers when and how they want.
Everyone who's blind and has a smartphone should have it on their phone. I really applaud Microsoft for taking this step.
Learn more at aka.ms/BeMyEyes.
Okay, let's take a break. Let's calm down. I don't get it. Coming up, we're going to learn more about this incredible sounding app. We've got Will Butler and Alexander Denson on deck. They're the developers of Be My Eyes, and they're going to tell us the whole story of how this came to be, and of course, so much more. So stick around. This is Double Tap TV. Please get involved. It's feedback at AMI.CA. Of course, on Twitter at Double Tap Canada with the hashtag AskDoubleTap. He is Stephen Scott. I am Marc Aflalo, and we'll be right back.
For more great Double Tap TV content, visit AMI.CA/DoubleTap. This is Double Tap TV.
Welcome back to Double Tap TV. Thank you guys so much for being here. We are talking all about an app called Be My Eyes, which of course we dove into just a little bit before the break. But I am Marc Aflalo, and Stephen Scott is standing by, and he's going to introduce us to our special guest this week.
Yep, thanks, Mark. We've got Alexander Jensen, the CCO, and Will Butler, Vice President of Community, both at Be My Eyes, right here on the show. Guys, great to have you on Double Tap TV. Will, let me start with you. There can't be many people left who don't know about the Be My Eyes app, but for those who don't, why don't you tell us the story of Be My Eyes?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, for the people who don't know about Be My Eyes are sometimes the ones who can use it most, because we have so many thousands of users who are going in and out of changes in vision on a daily basis. People who are encountering blindness for the first time, or maybe they just have low vision and really struggle to read small print. So we try to make sure that everyone knows it's for everyone, anyone who could benefit from vision support. In terms of story, Be My Eyes started with a very simple idea from our co-founder Hans in Denmark, who thought, hey, it would be really cool if I could just FaceTime people to support me in seeing. And it worked really well to call friends and family. But after a while, he thought, that this is going to get old fast. What if people, just strangers, would pick up the phone and Be My Eyes for me? And that was it. We launched the app in 2015, and overnight we had tens of thousands of volunteers signing up to help, thousands of blind users pouring in and using the app, and today we've got over 5 million users on the platform and in the community.
And that's a stunning number of people who have signed up. Alex, you must be surprised by the growth and support of the app and indeed the wider blind community.
Yeah, I think what makes it really surprising is the fact that we haven't done much to actually tell the world about it. What has really made the community grow and grow in a very organic way is people sharing their stories. So we onboard thousands of new volunteers and users every single day, and it's all by people sharing their experiences, hearing about it. And I think one of the reasons why that is that I think it taps into something that's very human. I think we're all made to be there for each other, and I think that it's very, very simple way of being a part of something really interesting. It's a very easy way of both receiving assistance and also doing something for someone else. So the simplicity is really what has made this community grow. I think one of our users coined it perfectly just after launching. She tweeted and said, "Be My Eyes is a good deed waiting to happen in your pocket." And I think at least that's the explanation for why the volunteering community has grown as it has. That is really we say that Be My Eyes is powered by powerful technology and human generosity, and I think it just taps into something that a lot of people can relate to and can find helpful. And to be honest, that's the reason why now millions of people are using it.
We often hear devices are dividing us up, but this app sounds to me like it's doing what in some respects these devices were intended to do, which is bring us together a bit in a meaningful and helpful way. Well, what do you think about that statement?
I really think so. We've come to understand social networks as platforms that allow us to project an image of ourselves. And I think that a real social interaction is one where both people are benefiting. And there is no interaction where both people are benefiting more than Be My Eyes, because the individual who's assisting feels great that they get to help, and the individual who's getting assistance is getting the information they need. It's a perfect exchange. And so I think that it's a more social network than any of these other platforms that are just photos of our pets and what we're eating for dinner.
Alex, what's your take on that?
One of the things that we are proud of have done is like we're all like really making this like a technically a social network that allows individuals to connect, but also a platform that allows individuals to connect, but also for community partners, organizations and companies to participate in it as well. And I think that combination of all, like both the volunteering piece, but also our like the connection and we establish between companies and our users in a very meaningful way, just allows for more independence. It allows for companies to be there for populations with like who are blind or low vision or just need visual assistance. And I think that the combination of all these pieces really work great together. It wasn't something that we foresee doing when we launched. In the beginning, it was just like this very simple connection between someone who needs visual assistance and someone who a volunteer who could provide that. But now it's way broader than that, also including companies. And I think that works in a really seamless way, and in a way that allow volunteers to focus on the things that they should focus on, but also allowing companies to actually go in and help with any of the like product or service issues that users might have with their products and services.
Guys, stick around. We have more that we want to dive into with you. This is Double Tap TV. We're talking all about Be My Eyes. Stephen Scott is by my side, along with our guests Will and Alex from Be My Eyes. We'll take a quick break and come back and continue our conversation on Double Tap TV.
For more great Double Tap TV content, visit AMI.CA/DoubleTap. This is Double Tap TV.
Hi guys, my name's Amr Latif. I'm blind. I lost my sight when I was 18 years old, and I run a really cool travel company called Travel Eyes. I'm a TV presenter and I do lots of crazy different things. But today, my challenge is to go independently and get cash out of a cash machine. And guess what? You guys are coming with me too.
So, let's see how this thing works.
Hi there, this is Graham from Lloyds Bank. How can I help?
Hi Graham, thanks for answering. I need to withdraw some cash.
Tilt the camera to the left a little bit.
To the left?
The top option. Yep, so there's 4 buttons there. The top one, that's cash only.
Cash only is what I want, perfect.
If you move the camera across to the other side of the screen for me, please. To the right hand side.
Yep.
That's it, and at the top of the 4 buttons. So just
brilliant. There we go. I pressed the top one.
£20. Just down below. Can you feel the pin pad? It's just below that.
Oh, there! Wow, I've got £20 out. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that.
Getting a professional on an app like this, instead of asking a stranger on the street, gives me a real sense of independence, and this will help thousands of people across the world. So, give it a go.
Welcome back to Double Tap TV. Thank you guys for being here each and every single week, especially this one, because we are in conversation with some good friends over at a new app. Not even a new app. You taught me about this app about 4 years ago, Stephen. The app is Be My Eyes. I am Marc Aflalo. Stephen Scott is right by my side. Stephen, I'm learning so much more about this fabulous app, but there's even more to dive into, is there not?
That's right, Mark. We've got some fantastic guests with us this week from Be My Eyes, Will Butler and Alexander Jensen. And so far we've talked about the fantastic way the app brings volunteers and blind or low vision people together to support us in our everyday lives on our own terms too, which is great. And this is to both of you, Will and Alex, you offer what is called specialised help. Some people might have noticed this in the app. And what that allows is for businesses to take advantage of the Be My Eyes platform and offer professional support to customers. Talk us through how that works, and maybe perhaps tell us what support is available here in Canada.
Sure. Yeah, so we've been working really hard throughout this past year to bring on new specialized help providers. And a lot of people think of Be My Eyes as volunteer-based, but there's a whole network of companies who have Be My Eyes in their call centers, and they're providing customer support through the platform. So you can find companies in the Be My Eyes app and click the call button the way that you would for a volunteer and call a company directly. So we started out with Microsoft, and then Google joined, and then we've had companies from the Procter & Gamble family of brands come on, and today we've got dozens of companies and organizations around the world available in different regions. We have blindness organizations, so nonprofit organizations and human service organizations on the platform.
Here's an interesting use as well.
Blind and low vision women have had to rely on friends and family to read their pregnancy tests for them. They tell their stories to camera.
For somebody who's got sight loss, it's really difficult to know if they're pregnant. You have to go to your friend or your GP.
Not every mum has the friends around them or the trusted people around them to tend to.
It doesn't seem the right place to be doing it in front of your friends because you haven't had the chance to deal with those emotions yourself.
It's clear something needed to be done. We see a demonstration of an app developed to make pregnancy tests more accessible. The new Clear Blue helpline through the Be My Eyes app connects women with Clear Blue advisors, providing results instantly and anonymously, removing the need to involve friends and family, and giving them ownership of their life-changing news.
Users in Canada can check out, we've been building out our careers category this past few months, trying to take the employment conundrum really seriously. So you'll find organizations like LinkedIn are providing support with the LinkedIn platform now on Be My Eyes, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And then we have other partners like Inclusively and Jobs for Humanity who are focusing on being inclusive job boards and job opportunities, helping blind and low vision people find actual real jobs that they can apply for where the employers have made a commitment to inclusion. So there's all sorts of things on specialized help. It's really a kind of a wonderland of free video support services.
Yeah, and it's just add to that. It's like it's not only technical issues that people like LinkedIn, Microsoft, Google. It all sounds very, very techy, and a lot of issues that people are facing are also tech related. But just wanting to let you know that there's a bunch of other companies available in there, even governments. So we work with big telcos like Verizon. Last week we even launched first Be My Eyes for food support. So you can actually call Barilla, which is one of the biggest pasta company in the world, to get like support cooking your meals. How do you make sure that like reading out recipes and following instructions, these types of things. But also, given that we are hopefully coming to the tail end of the pandemic, we have also used the platform to connect our users to organizations that can provide COVID-specific information. So in the UK, for example, we're working with the Department of Health for as like home testing. So you can actually call in and have someone help you take a home COVID test. In the US, we're working with Rite Aid, who can help you scheduling appointments and other Rite Aid related or pharmacy related issues that users might interact. So what we are I think this points to, we are trying to bring on organizations and companies that can help solve some of the biggest issues that the community that we're trying to serve are facing. So whether that's in technology, physical products, if it's navigation, experiences, whatnot, we're just like opening our doors and onboarding really, really interesting companies that can help our users do more and experience things in a different way.
Okay, guys, here's your chance. Here's your chance to give the Double Tap TV audience your elevator pitch. Why should someone go out and download this app right now and try out your service? Go!
Just know that the BMIs is completely free. It's completely free to download. It's completely free to use. There's no ads being served or none of that stuff. It's available 24/7. And given the huge community of volunteers, but also all the companies on board, you can make as many calls as you want. It's completely unlimited. It's available 24/7, and it's available in basically any language. So we're not here to sell anything. Just if you feel curious, go ahead and try it and see if it's something you want to do. Either if you're a volunteer that wants to volunteer in a very flexible way, or if you're blind or low vision, or if you need visual assistance with anything, sign on to try it. Or even if you work for a company that are trying to do things in a more accessible and inclusive way, feel free to reach out to us.
Well, Alex, thanks so much for coming on to Double Tap TV this week to share the story of your wonderful app, Be My Eyes, which is available on both iOS and Android platforms to download for free.
What an awesome app, Stephen. I cannot wait for our audience to get some more hands-on time with it, and for those who have just discovered it, thanks to this week's episode of Double Tap TV. On behalf of our guests, thank you guys so much for being here. Please do get involved. You always have something to tell us about our shows. We want to hear. Feedback at AMI.CA is the email address. And on Twitter, reach out at DoubleTap Canada. Don't forget to follow us there with that hashtag, which is AskDoubleTap. On behalf of Alex and Will and Stephen Scott, I am Marc Aflalo. We'll catch you in our next edition of Double Tap TV.
Hosted by Marc Aflalo and Stephen Scott. Executive producer Marc Aflalo. Editing Jordan Steves and Marc Aflalo. Motion graphics Will ATTAR. Voiceover Anna Vicino. Production assistants Wendy Kaufman and Zachary Aflalo. Social media Wendy Kaufman. Integrated Described Video Specialist Ron Rickford. Coordinating Producer Jennifer Johnson. Director Production Kara Nye. Director Programming Brian Perdue. VP Content Development and Programming John Melville. President and CEO David Arrington. Copyright 2021 Accessible Media Inc.